Hello crocheters, this is Bethany with My Way Crochet LLC, and today we are going to be learning the increases and decrease stitches as well as the basic single crochet that goes into creating amigurumi. If you haven't watched my video on the magic ring and how to get that set, you can go ahead back and watch that video. Again, it's the magic ring. So far I have a magic ring with 6 single crochets. I'm going to go around to the next round, round 2, and this will be an increase. Increase just means we're going to put 2 stitches or 2 single crochets in each braided piece. So just like with the magic ring where we were going under 2 strands of yarn, we still are. We're going to take our hook and put it under our first 2 strands of yarn here. Make sure you get under both, like so. Then we're going to take our yarn. This is the yarn that's still connected to my yarn ball. What you see dangling here is the tail where I started. We ignore that. We only want to use the yarn that's still connected to the ball. We're going to put it over the hook, hook it, and pull it underneath those 2 loops like so. Now we're going to go over those 2 loops and hook that yarn again and pull through both. Now because this is the first stitch of round 2, I like to use a stitch marker so I know when I've made it all the way around. And I'm going to put it right underneath there. So cute. All right, now we're increasing. So we have to go back into that same loop, that same braid, and do it again. So we're not moving on to the next one yet, which would be here. We're still going into this one. Go through. Again, it might be a little bit more difficult because you've already put a stitch in there. I'm under. Hook your yarn and pull it up. Got stuck there. Now go over, hook it, and pull it through. Now you see there's 2. 1, 2. Now we go to the next one and we're going to increase here too. So after we've increased all the way around in our 6 stitches, our stitch count should be 12. So again, we're going to go under 2. I think I used my fingers for some help here. When the amigurumi piece is very small, sometimes you need extra fingers. Hook, pull, go over, hook, pull, and again, in that same hole right there. Under, hook, pull, over, hook, and pull through. We have 4 so far. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you see my stitch marker is marking my first one right here. Let's go again. 1, we have to if we want to make this project. 2, go through. 1, 2. Next stitch. That was a tough one. 1, 2. Again, under, hook, over, through, under, hook, over, through. We're putting 2 of these in each braided space. We call them loops or chains. Or stitch, you'll see stitch a lot too. See, now I've come back to my stitch marker. I know I've completed the round. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, we'll take our stitch marker out. Don't panic, we're going to keep going. To keep going and making this bigger, you'll see a 1 single chain and then an increase. This means in our next stitch, the first one of the next round, we're on round 3 now, you're going to place it under, hook, and over, through. And our stitch marker goes in here. Whoop. because this is our first stitch of the next round. There you are. Now that was our 1 single crochet. Now we need to increase. That means, yep, we're going to put 2 in here in our next loop. Under, hook, over, through. Here's our next loop. We're only going to do 1. We're alternating 1 and 2. 1, and then in our next one we'll do 2. 2. You continue this way. I got stuck all the way around. Let me try again. See how to pull that out. It's okay. You can make mistakes. You can always take it apart and try again. We go 1 here and 2 here. It's always under, hook it, over, hook and pull through. Let's put 1 here, 2 here. There's many different ways to hold your yarn. Mine is a little unconventional. You'll see I'm using my extra fingers to kind of maneuver the yarn as I hold this over my finger. So my yarn string goes over the finger, and I'm actually keeping tension with my pinky under here. So as I go through, put another one in there. Nope, moving on. I'm going to hook it, and then I let it slide through my pinky, lift up on these fingers to let it go. You'll see a lot of people will wrap this and have a high finger crochet to pull this through. It's a very difficult thing to do for me. That finger just wants to stay down. Some people will just have it wrapped once, some people twice. And I typically hold this, you know, like a sewing needle almost for your hook. And we'll finish off the round. It doesn't matter how you hold the hook or how you hold your yarn, as long as you're keeping consistent stitches. You don't want stitches that are too big or too small. Now we've made an even bigger circle. We would typically continue in this fashion, always alternating. So in the next round we would do 2 singles, or 2 where we only put 1 in there. And then in this one we would put 2 again to increase, and we would have 24 stitches in that round. But for time's sake, I'll show you a decrease. I'm going to do an invisible decrease here. So I'm just going to start with 1 single crochet, just like we've been doing. Now, as we make our piece bigger and bigger and bigger, eventually we might have to make it smaller. So the smaller will decrease. Decreasing, there's 2 ways to do it. I'll show you the invisible one first. We have our 2 braided pieces here. The loops that are closest to you are called front loops, and the 2 loops, or the loop that is farthest away from you, is a back loop. So if I only wanted to grab the front loop, it would just be the 1. We've been going under 2 strands so far, and we can only go under 1. That's the front loop. You might see patterns where it says to go through the back loop. You'll go over top of the front loop and into the back loop. Our decrease, though, will use front loops. So you'll go up through the front loop, and then we're going to grab this other front loop too, because what we essentially want to do with a decrease is to eliminate a stitch. So to do that, we need to crochet the same stitch through 2 pieces. So we're under 2 of 2 different stitches. It's the front loop. I'm going to hook my yarn and pull it up. Go over, hook, whoop, I lost a loop. Let me put that back on there. Okay, go over, hook, and pull it through. I'm actually going to try that one again because my yarn got tangled. So, it'll help educate anyway. Under the first front loop, under the next one, we have 3 loops on our hook. 1, 2, 3. Go over, get your yarn, hook it through 2, go over, get your yarn, done. I'm going to put 1 single crochet in here, so I'll go under 2. This is just a regular stitch, regular single crochet. And then in this piece I'm going to decrease again. Under the first loop, under the second loop, get it all. Pick up your yarn, hook it through, pick up your yarn, hook it through. I'm just going to put a regular single crochet in this one. And then here, if this invisible decrease isn't really working out for you, you can do a regular decrease. You're just going to stick it under both loops, pull your yarn under, stick it under the next loop, the next 2 loops, do it again. Now you have 3 loops on your hook. You'll yarn over, meaning you'll pick up your yarn and hook it through all 3. So we performed kind of a single crochet through both stitches. So again, 1 single crochet here. Let's decrease through the next 2 stitches. Just a regular decrease here. Under 2, get your yarn. In a regular single crochet, we would get our yarn and pull through again. But we need to crochet this over 2 stitches so it decreases. So we're going to go to the next 2 loops, get our yarn, hook it through, 3 loops on the hook, take our yarn, pull through all of them. So now we're decreasing. You can see it's already kind of pulling under to make more of a shape. So in Amigurumi, we use increases and decreases to help shape our objects. Please watch this video again in slow motion or as many times as you need to practice your increase and decreasing stitches.